and a light unto my path. In Proverbs chapter 10, verse 11, it says together, it is the Lord's blessing that makes you wealthy. And you know how He's going to do that? Ask me how. 99% of the time He's going to use a money machine. Say that with me, money machine. In Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23, it says together, be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. I'm going to share with you today that there are two very specific stages on the financial life, on your financial life. And how many stages are there? How many? I want you to find out now, which stage are you on? The guy who shared this to me is my dear friend Rex Mendoza, and he says that there are two stages of the financial life, and the first stage is when man works for money. Now, how many of you work for money? Raise your hand. Okay, thank you. And then there is a stage two. And in stage two, it's when money works for man. How many of you want to become in stage two? Tell someone beside you, I don't know about you, but I'm going to stage two. Amen? Money works for man. That's in stage two. Let me introduce you to a guy who you see here around, walking around. His name is Gil Ramiscal. And Gil Ramiscal, he's the president of Shepherd's Voice Publications. He retired from his company some time ago, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not sure now. But Gil he runs Shepherd's Voice Publications. It sells about 75 million pesos worth of books and magazines, and 35 employees. The curious thing about Gil is that he does not receive a salary. I don't pay him anything. The company does not pay him anything for being the president of Shepherd's Voice Publications. Now, you wonder why, right? You want to know why? Yes. Ask me why. Why? Because he's in stage two. He is in stage two, and he has money machines that produce money for him. He does not need a salary. He serves the Lord and he says, I don't need your salary. I've got money that works for me. How many of you would like to be in the position of Gil Ramiscal one day? You'd like that? Serve God in an orphanage, serve God in a ministry, give your full time to the Lord, not expecting a salary because your needs are provided for by your money machines. Is that clear? Now, this is the goal. I hope you understand. If it's the first time you've come here to the feast and you're wondering why a preacher is talking about money, this is the purpose. I've got to remind you, the purpose is not just to become wealthy. The purpose is not just to enrich yourself. The purpose is not to drive a BMW. The purpose is not to have a luxury house. The purpose is to serve God with your money. How many of you want to how many of you want to go to stage two? Tell someone beside you again, I don't know about you, but I'm going to stage two. Can I share with you a story, more like an Aesop's fable that I kind of like changed a bit? May I? Say yes. One day there was this huge alien ship from the galaxy Chickendom. And this alien ship visited planet Earth. And they felt so much pity for the poor people who lived on planet Earth. And they decided to help. And the way they were going to help was to leave behind one chicken, one very special chicken from galaxy Chickendom. And they chose a poor farmer by the name of Mang Pong, and they teleported this alien chicken to his backyard. So the very next day, of course, the alien ship, after teleporting the chicken, rocketed off to another galaxy. And The very next morning, Mang Pong woke up, went to his backyard, and saw this strange, weird, feathered creature in his backyard. It was extra large. It had golden wings. And that was nothing compared to what happened next. When the chicken stood up, Mang Pong, the poor farmer, saw an egg. But it was no ordinary egg. It glimmered under the bright sun. It was a golden egg. And he was so happy. He got the egg. He ran to town. He sold it. And he bought clothes and food and furniture for his tiny house. And that day was really, really great. Well, the next morning, something even more fantastic happened. The chicken, that very special chicken, laid another golden egg. And you know, Mang Pong was so happy. He gets the egg, runs to town, sells it again, and he buys an iPod, a laptop, a jacuzzi, a 60-inch plasma TV. I mean, he had such a sweet life. And the very next day, it happened again. And the next day, and he bought more stuff. And the next day, for the next 8 days, he was so happy that his chicken kept on laying golden eggs. Well, something happened after the 10th day. Ask me what? Mang Pong had a problem, had a huge problem. You see, his chicken was laying only 1 egg a day. And he wanted more eggs. Ask me why? Because he wanted to buy a helicopter. He wanted to have his own private helipad. And he wanted his chicken to lay more golden eggs. And he had a brilliant idea. Or so he thought. You see, Mang Pong was not very bright. He asked himself the question, where were the golden eggs coming from? Inside the chicken. So he grabs his special chicken, runs to his house, gets the sharpest knife in the kitchen, and cuts open the chicken. And what does he find inside the chicken? Nothing. Say nothing. But then his chicken is dead. And Mang Pong began to cry because after that day, he never had any golden eggs. And so he had to sell his iPod and his laptop and his jacuzzi and his 60-inch plasma TV. He began to sell all these things. And after a year, Mang Pong became very, very poor again. And one day he was walking in town and he met a man who suddenly became very rich. And this man, who was very rich now, was thanking Mang Pong profusely. And so Mang Pong said, "Why are you thanking me?" And so this rich man said, "Do you remember that time when you sold me a golden egg?" And he said, "Yes." And the man said, "It hatched." And Mang Pong said, "What?" He said, "That's true. I put it in an incubator and cared for it. And after some time, it hatched. And a chicken came out, a very special chicken that was extra large and had golden wings. And it started laying eggs every day, golden eggs." And Mang Pong realized that he could have kept those eggs because in every golden egg was a chicken that would lay golden eggs. The alien ship came back to Earth to inspect what had happened. They were happy that some people became very wealthy, but they were sad that some people were still poor. Who were those who were wealthy? Those who owned chickens that laid the golden eggs. Do you know why I share you that story? Ask me why. Wala lang. No, there is a wonderful purpose. Number one, Filipinos are poor because they do not understand this. And what you're going to hear today in this talk, I'll tell you something. 99% of our population do not understand. Everybody say, "Thank God I'm here." Friends, what you will hear and what you will learn, many people do not understand. Filipinos are poor because they have a love affair with golden eggs and not with the chicken that lays them. I'll say that again. Filipinos are poor because we love money, but we don't understand that money machines are more important than money. Golden eggs represent money. Chickens that lay the golden egg represents money machines. You see, if you're praying for a car, let's say you're praying for a car, Lord, give me a car! And kaboom, the car appears. You know what? You're going to have a problem. What's your problem? Lord, give me money for the insurance and the registration. And after a while, you're going to have another problem. Lord, I need gas. And after that, you're going to have another problem. Lord, I need money for changing the oil every 5,000 kilometers. And Lord, give me money for brand new tires after 2 years. And Lord, give me money to buy a new battery every 1.5 years. You're going to have problem after problem after problem. Do not just pray for a house. Do not just pray for a car. Ask for a money machine to produce the money to buy the house and the car. Tell someone beside you, create money machines. It's not the money that makes you wealthy. It's the money machine that produces the money. Now, you might be asking me right now, what in the world are you talking about? What are money machines? I'll talk about that in a while. But it's very important. When you have money, but do not have the money machine, it's not really a blessing. It's a burden. Did you hear me? No, you didn't. One more time. When you have money, but you don't have a money machine, that money is not a blessing, it is a burden. Ask me why. Because the money buys stuff that need more money to maintain. And that's the problem. That's the burden. You got me? Now tell me, if God were here and God were to tell you, what do you want, money or money machine, what would you say? Money machine. Now, but, everybody say, but. The egg, if you incubate it and care for it and give it the right conditions, can become a chicken. And so money, if you put it in the right conditions, can produce a money machine. Is that clear? Now, how can that happen? Money maybe I should say that to you later. Let me go to the 2 elements of financial wealth. Remind me, okay? Number 1, many people think that financial wealth is, well, cash. Financial wealth is property. Financial wealth is jewelry. Financial wealth is, a house, a car. No. Financial wealth are 2 things and 2 things alone. Number 1, the mindset to create money and the ability to make money. I want to give you a hypothetical situation. Imagine if in the entire world we would redistribute wealth. We would confiscate all the wealth of the world from every human being. Just put it in one big lump of wealth. You just get your wealth, confiscate. And then we would equally distribute all the wealth to every human being. Can you imagine that? You know what will happen in 5 years? Do you know what will happen in 5 years? All that money will go back to the same people who had the money before 5 years ago. All that money will go back to the Henry C. and the Lu Shitan and the John Gokongwei and the Bo Sanchez. It will all go back. Why? Because these are the people who have the mindset to create money and the ability to create money. Have you heard of CARP? Comprehensive Agrarian Program. Have you heard of that? It's been there for 20 plus years, where they would get the land from those who had a lot of land, redistribute it to the tenants and the farmers. Do you know that it has been a dismal failure? You know that? It has never worked, because the poor farmers who receive the land, after a few years, they'll sell it back to the former owner. Do you understand why? They do not have the mindset. They do not have the ability. If you want to help the poor, you cannot just give money. If you want to help the poor, you have to give them the mindset to create wealth and the ability to create wealth. I'll say that again. Financial wealth is not about money. It's about your mindset and your ability. Your ability to create money. If you want to be more accurate, it's the ability to create money machines that produce the money. We can own not just money, because money without the money machine is a burden, not a blessing. We want to change our thinking and say, we want the money machine. The two kinds of money machines. Number one is the manual money machine. Manual. This is a manual machine. You remember this? Some kids don't. This is a typewriter. Hi, children. This is a typewriter. You know, the difference between a manual machine and an automatic machine is very simple. A manual machine is, I have to be here for this to work. Yes? I have to be physically present, working on this machine for it to produce something. Am I right? This one, I don't have to be here. I could program it and say, print 100 copies. Press the button, and then I go off to Boracay. Yes? That's an automatic machine. I don't have to be here. This one, this does not do anything whatsoever if I'm not here working on this. The two money machines that are manual: job, self-employment. How many of you have jobs? Raise your hand. That's a great manual machine, and it all starts there. Yes? Self-employment is a manual money machine. What is a self-employed person? Some people think that if you're a doctor and you have a clinic, if you're a dentist and you have a clinic, if you're a lawyer and you have a little office, if you are an accountant and you have freelance service, if you're a photographer and you're a freelance photographer, and if you're a web designer and people hire you for your services, people think you have a business because you're your own boss. Well, it's true that you're your own boss, but you don't have a business. You are self-employed. And self-employed people have a manual money machine, because you exchange your time for money. Am I making sense here? And so a manual money machine is great, but you should make a decision that you would want to have also automatic money machines. Automatic money machines, I'm simplifying this for you and just so that we can understand this. 3 kinds of automatic money machines: paper assets, business, and property. Your goal is to have automatic money machines one day. Yes? For example, paper assets. You can divide that into 3. You can invest in bonds, you can invest in mutual funds, you can invest in the stock market. Yesterday, it was funny, I was preparing for this talk when yesterday I received an envelope from one of my mutual funds, the very first I invested in when I learned about mutual funds 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I didn't know anything about money, really nothing. I had my money in the bank, growing at so little interest, and then someone talked to me about mutual funds. I started to understand, and so I got my savings. My savings I saved it for such a long time, but it was about 300,000 pesos. And really, it was precious to me. It was all my money, And maybe I shouldn't, right now I probably shouldn't have done it, but I did it then. I got my money and I put it in this mutual fund 5 years ago. Yesterday, I received a letter from that mutual fund, and my money was now 500,000. And it was, I was amazed because the market right now is really, 30% down? And wow. And knowing what I know now, I know that it's going to be bad for the next 2 to 3 years, probably. That's my guess, economy in the world. But 5 years from now, my fearless forecast is that my 500,000 in that one mutual fund will become 1 million 5 years from now. It's automatic. The stage 2